Our lupus stories. Welcome. I am Chanel Gabriel, and we are all the way live and talking about lupus, helping you live your best life with lupus. Now, put some purple hearts in the chat as I welcome to the virtual stage my co-host, Dr. Michaela Baird, aka the Lupus Doc.
Hey, Chanel, how have things been going since we were last together?
Hey, everything has been going great. I'm working on a few things, trying to get used to this changing weather. Fall is here, winter is here. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. No, it's been crazy. I went to pick up my son from school a week ago, and we were wading through like water of which like up to my knees, so it's up to his chest. He had a blast, but I was just trying to get back to the car to make sure it was not underwater.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, that's right. In New York, we had really, really terrible weather that time. And the rain, I know it was flooding in different parts. Oh my God. So y'all were really wading in the water, not to channel the Negro spiritual.
Exactly. We have fun though.
No, but I feel like when the weather changes, my joints get achy. Now, as a rheumatologist, am I crazy for feeling this way?
You are not. It's actually a question people ask me all the time. And the reality is your joints, because, you know, it's a pressure-filled space, it does get impacted by changes in temperature. So you're not crazy.
Okay, thank you. I'm not alone in my aches and pains, but I mean, thank you. Thank you for justifying and validating my experience.
So, I'm excited for tonight because we have a great show. We are actually going to be talking about cutaneous lupus. So the title is Cutaneous Lupus: From Skin Irritation to Restoration. Chanel, do you deal with lupus impacting your skin? I mean, I know you do, but tell us more.
Well, you know, interestingly enough, I've always kind of been a little photosensitive, but about 2-3 months ago, I was, and I might have mentioned it on a previous show, I was on vacation and I was just living it up, standing in the sunlight. And, you know, imagine 20 years later, I've been diagnosed for 20 years. And this is the first time I had like a really crazy rash happen from being in the sun for too long. I was in direct sunlight way too long, waiting for a beautiful romantic sunset to happen. And it was beautiful, but I paid for it for weeks later. So yeah, I definitely have to navigate sun sensitivity and what it does to me with my lupus.
And that's hard. You want to be out in the sun on a nice day. I imagine you're like, I'll be outside for 5 minutes, and then it's like 20 minutes, but it is so important. And, you know, I think that, you know, we can always talk about helpful adjustments and things we can do to enjoy being outside. But like we've said in previous episodes, you know, we're trying to think about how we can avoid flares and not just manage them. And definitely protecting our skin, which is our biggest organ, is, you know, a huge priority that we're going to get into today.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to stay silky smooth forever if I can. So our guests today are going to help us explore more about that, about ways to protect our skin and things that they've learned. So let's bring our guests in. We have our first guest, Shreece Taylor, who was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, but currently resides in Queens. Hello, Shreece. Welcome.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
So glad to have you. Yes, Shreece was diagnosed with lupus at 17 and decided last year she wanted to speak more about her journey, and she hit the ground running. Homegirl wasted no time and became the co-chair of the Community Outreach Committee for Lupus Research Alliance's Young Leaders Board. So her fun fact is you have a joke that you like to say with your friends that you could beat all of them in a race. Like, yes. Why would you say that?
Because I've had 2 hip replacements before the age of 30. So now I'm ready to take the ground running, like literally.
You're the bionic woman.
Perfectly said.
Well,
love it.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right. So now our next guest we have live from ATL. We have nonprofit technologist and marketing leader, GeJuana Robinson. Welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you. So you are a proud graduate of Grambling State University,
Grambling.
Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. My sister Greek. Oh, and Shreece is the SG Rose. So we got a little Greek Divine Nine in the building.
Yes.
But GeJuana has a deep commitment to the nonprofit sector and serves underserved communities. And we see that dedication through her 15 years of service at the American Red Cross. And she is currently the Salesforce Platform Director for Biomedical Services. And you've received so many awards, including the Presidential Award for Excellence in Biomedical Services. And you're a loving wife to Marlon, a mom to a 10-year-old named Alex. And fun fact, you have a very vivacious Shih Tzu puppy named Max. And how old is Max? Max is not a puppy.
He's not a puppy anymore. Max is now 3, and I affectionately refer to him as my other baby. So he's a 3-year-old.
Oh, so awesome. Well, so glad to have you joining us. And now we have our next guest, who is no stranger to Better Together. We had to have her back. Welcome to the virtual stage, Dr. Dina Strachan.
Hi.
Hi.
Great to be here.
Yes, so glad to have you. Now, Dr. Strachan is a Harvard and Yale educated board certified dermatologist, best-selling author and speaker, and she's the director of Aglow?
Yes.
It's Aglow, because you got a glow. Aglow Dermatology in New York City, and the founder of the national directory website findablackdoctor.com. And she's featured as an on-camera expert in the Netflix docuseries The Black Beauty Effect, which was I think I saw a piece of it. I have to watch the rest of it, but I definitely saw you and I was like, I know her. Oh my goodness. But you shared your expertise in the New York Times, the Washington Post, Essence, Good Morning America, and most notably in our last season of Better Together. So we're so excited to have you back.
Great to be back.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're excited to have joining us for our Spotlight on Research segment, Dr. Gabriela Cobos.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Dr. Gabriela. So you're our board-certified dermatologist and clinical trials director at Tufts University School of Medicine. You are in Boston, Massachusetts, of course. You're the director of the Dermatology Rheumatology program. I appreciate those of you that do both a lot. And an associate professor of dermatology, as well as an outpatient medical director. So you really have all the talent.
Many hats, but so happy to be here. And thank you so much for extending the invitation.
Of course. Welcome to Better Together.
Yes. And I'm so excited for this conversation. So glad. And all of you at home, whether you're watching live or watching a replay, you are in the conversation too. So please use the chat to ask questions. We definitely check the chat and try to respond when we see it there. So chime in with your thoughts and show love throughout the show. We love some purple hearts. We love fire emojis, whatever stands out to you. Let us know. So are you ready, Dr. Michaela? Ready to get started?
Yes, let's bring in the guests.
All right. So please put some purple hearts in the chat as we welcome to the stage Shreece Taylor.
Welcome, Shreece. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
So we always ask our guests to share their lupus story, so we'll have you share yours.
Most definitely. So I was diagnosed with lupus at the age of 17, and it started off as like a simple rash on my nose, and it happened during the summer months, so I didn't think anything of it. So I thought it was just a regular sunburn. But as the colder months began to come, the rash got worse. So that prompted me to go to my mom, and we both went to the doctor. And I was referred to a dermatologist where they biopsied the skin on my nose. And unlike a lot of other lupus patients, I was diagnosed with lupus within 3 months of that biopsy. Because, typical lupus patients, you don't get diagnosed until like 5-6 years later. So it only took me 3 months for that. And of course, I was on different medicines, but so I was diagnosed with discoid lupus. So it was just only affecting my skin. But between the ages of 17 and 20, I was then ignoring symptoms of systemic lupus, which I didn't know I had. So, it progressed really bad and it ended up affecting my central nervous system. So it ended up like in my brain and I couldn't walk, talk. I wasn't eating. And what drove me to the hospital was that like one day I woke up and it looked like my face was burned. Like I stuck my face like in a pot of burning oil and like I had rashes and lesions like all over my face and I couldn't break a fever and it was really bad. And like that's when I was admitted and they said I also had systemic lupus.
Wow. And thank you for sharing that. And that journey sounds really, really trying, especially we don't talk enough about how lupus can impact the central nervous system, but we're going to save that for a future topic and maybe we'll bring you back for it. But you talked about your skin symptoms and you actually shared a few photos with us. So can you talk us through them? So can we show the first photo?
This photo was when I was 17 years old. I was actually taking my senior pictures that day. That was actually a week before I've developed the rash on my nose. So my skin here is pretty clear. You don't really see too much happening, but the next week it got pretty bad.
Oh, so that's the next picture, huh? That's the next picture.
Yes. So this is the where I was referring to where it looked like one day I just stuck my face in a pot of burning oil. So this is what prompted me to go to the emergency room right away because this was not right.
Wow. And what do these patches feel like? I know you said it looked like, but were they scratchy? Were they just...
They were burning. It felt like burning and itching. And my face was really red all over.
Wow. And over time it changed.
Yes.
And we see that there became some scarring.
Yes. So severe scarring happened. So, for the most part, the redness went away, and now it just became a bunch of scabbing that really scarred my face.
Oh, wow.
You were dealing with this at such a young age. So how did that really impact your everyday life? I can imagine the toll emotionally and socially.
I can tell you this, like, I literally, like, wore a mask, like physically, like, I wore a mask, like, for a lot of time. It didn't become until recently, like until 2024, when I turned 30. I was like, I've got to live life. Like I literally would like hide. I couldn't even get my packages from Amazon. And I'm an Amazon girly. Like I had to wait until it was dark outside for me to go outside and try to be human, like be myself. So I said that, a lot of people are telling me that I'm not living my life, just hiding all the time. So, I will literally hide behind masks. I will literally hide behind makeup. But now when I do use makeup, it's just for me. It's just for me. It's not just to please anybody else. But when I do use makeup, it's just for me. And I look fabulous without makeup.
That's so powerful. And so for you, I mean, you said you just kind of woke up and just felt like you wanted it. Like how, what was it? What was it that kind of made that shift? Was it just you woke up one day or somebody say something to you? Like how? Because I'm trying to think about those that might be going through this, that might need to hear what you might have heard.
Right. It didn't take until my mom told me that you're not living your best life that, that was like a wake up call. I was like, okay, if my mama telling me that, then I think that I should just go outside and just be myself. And like the first time I walked outside without a mask, without makeup, it felt good. I was like, why didn't I do this the whole time?
Sometimes it takes hearing things from the people closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I know
Thank
that
you
for
so
me.
much, Shreece.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say. I know that sometimes it's really hard, especially when you're younger, to really like show up with your full self if it's not perfect and flawless. But it sounds like you've got this space where you're like, this is me and this is perfection for me. So I appreciate hearing that.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Shreece. How brave you are. We really Appreciate you sharing the story. There's so many people navigating similar challenges, so it's good to hear and have that as an example. And we're going to have you rejoin the conversation soon.
All right, see you guys.
Oh, that was great. So our next guest was diagnosed with lupus about 15 years ago. So please put some purple hearts in the chat for GeJuana Robinson.
Hello again.
Hi. Thank you for joining us, GeJuana. Like we do with all our advocates, share your lupus story.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Chanel said, I was diagnosed about 15 years ago, very shortly after my honeymoon, right? So, here you are, this amazing wedding, you're married, you're happy, you're on a tropical island, living the life, drinking pina coladas. And then all of a sudden, right, you have all of these skin rashes and things are just not feeling well, and you just don't know what's going on, right? I've always had skin issues, but I've chopped it up to like eczema or just, having, sensitive skin, quote unquote. And so coming back from my honeymoon, I knew that something was not right. So I scheduled an appointment to go and see a dermatologist. They did some testing, some biopsy, and unlike Shreece, right, they did not immediately give me a diagnosis. I left the dermatology office with we think that you might have, something, there might be something here, but we're absolutely not sure. But the thing that my dermatologist did was she directed me, if you ever have joint pains, if you're ever having these type of issues, I want you to go and see a rheumatologist. So we fast forward a bit. I'm doing laundry because, just got married. I want to pretend like I'm this perfect wife. And I'm going to pick up the laundry basket and my arms didn't work. I'm like, what is this? Couldn't pick up the laundry basket, couldn't move it. Immediately, I thought about what my dermatologist said, went to the rheumatologist. They did the testing. Every marker that you could think of from lupus, anti-dsDNA, your SED rates, all of that stuff elevated off the charts. And so I was immediately diagnosed with systemic lupus, but it started with my skin.
Wow. And thank you so much for sharing your story. And I know that was really challenging. You're like, I just got married, and I'm curious. I know this is probably a left field question, but how did you feel like you could tell your husband at the time what was going on? Or did you kind of just deal with this by yourself? I'm just curious.
No, I absolutely felt that I could tell him. I felt like he was probably more engaged than myself. Here he is, right, with a new wife, and she's having all of these sicknesses, and he doesn't know what's going on. So I think he had more worry actually than I did, because again, I've had skin issues since I was a little girl. I'm like, this is eczema, this will go away. He's like, no, we have to do something, and we have to do something now. So I felt like he actually pushed me more than I was pushing myself.
Thank you. And so your rash now, you talked about having these rashes. We have a photo here. Can you just share what your rash felt like? And did you notice any patterns with it?
Yeah, so I noticed a couple of patterns. So this photo is one of the reactions that I get when I go outside, right? A lot of times I'll get little bumps or I'll get what looks like welts. And so what's weird with me, and I shouldn't say weird, but what's odd is that with my lupus and my skin presentations, it's not typical, right? You're not getting like the butterfly rash. You're not getting like the little bumps or the lesions. I really start with these welts that bubble up on my skin. And so I often see that if I'm in the sun too long, if I am somewhere where I'm overheated, my skin immediately reacts and I just break out into all of these welts. And so that's what you're seeing there.
So GeJuana, tell us how you managed the skin symptoms you had around that time, and were you using any medications or over-the-counter things?
Yep. So we did use steroids. I was immediately put on a regimen of steroids. I also had some topicals that I would apply. There was a prescription that my dermatologist gave me. My husband and I joked around. It was like a fire extinguisher. And so immediately if I broke out or if I had these lesions pop up, I was able to apply that topical and it put the fire out like that. And so that was something that I carried in my purse. It was in my book bag. It was in my luggage. I had like mounds of this stuff because it worked so well.
And so with that, we spoke about this with Shreece. There's an emotional toll. How did you navigate that, and has it shifted?
I think over the years, it has definitely shifted. Before, I think because it wasn't so present on my face, right? I was able to hide it. So I wore a lot of jeans, long sleeve shirts, things like that. But now, as I've gotten older, my body has kind of balanced out, right? I know, Chanel, we talked about this. I talk a lot about how my son saved my life. And when I got pregnant, there was something in the mojo of, being pregnant where those hormones balanced out. And my lupus symptoms really went at bay, right? So I wasn't seeing as much of an impact. And so I'm seeing more of this, I'm in what my doctors call kind of regression. And so as I've gotten older, that's gotten better. But when we were in the thick of it, I was wearing long clothes. I was wearing jackets. When I went on vacation, I had my hats. I would put on the sunscreen, like all of those things to kind of keep everything at bay.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your beautiful story, hearing about your family. We're so grateful you've joined us and shared it.
Yes.
And we can't.
Oh, one more question. We were about to run away from you. I have one more question. Yes. So for you, did you notice anything else? Is it just sunlight that would affect you? What about like taking care of, is there anything diet or any other things that you thought helped like your lupus when you did have it and when it was active? Just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was eating well, and I'm a Southerner, right? I live here in Atlanta. We got good food down here. But I noticed that when I am eating well, I'm doing all of the things. Of course, my body had better reactions when I'm, sticking to certain diets where for me, I'm not putting a lot of meat into my diet or a lot of processed foods. My body has a better response. When I start to, deviate from that, immediately I can see reactions. I've made a personal choice. I don't eat pork. I try to stay, away from red meat and things like that. Every now and then I might dabble, but that really does help me to kind of keep my symptoms at bay.
Definitely. I can understand that. And just thinking about more of the skin challenges, going back to the skin challenge you had, did you find yourself at one point in time before it calmed down, just not necessarily able to do all of the things, or did you find other things that you can do, like when you were on vacation, or just curious about your life in general, navigating having skin challenges?
I still found ways to do that, right? We vacation a lot, right? You're going to find me and my family on a boat somewhere. We're going to be on some island. So we are out in the sun. I'm married to a Jamaican man. He likes the sun. So what we do, I use a lot of sunscreens. I make sure that I am on top of that. I try to use sunscreens with very high SPFs because that's really important for folks with lupus. If I have my hats, I've got my hats on. Sometimes when we're at amusement parks, I might have on jeans or things like that. But I do make it a priority to make sure that my body is covered as much as possible when I'm out. If I'm not able to do that, I've lathered up in all the sunscreen just to ensure that I can enjoy outside.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. So we still live. We still outside. We still having fun. We're still doing all the things, I don't let this shy away. I don't have a family that will allow me to let this shy away, right? It's either let's go, girl, or they're leaving me at home. And so I do make it still a priority to still go out. And I have to find ways to be able to do that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love seeing the pictures, how you're enjoying the sun, even, trying your best to.
Yes.
So we're going to bring you back in, but thank you for joining us.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So now, we're talking about skin, so we had to invite, I'm about to call her our resident expert because this is we definitely love having her on this show. And she did such a great job breaking it down last episode. We talked about skin. So please put the purple hearts in the chat as we bring back to the stage Dr. Dina Strachan.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, so glad.
We have had you as a guest before, and there's some terms that get thrown around. And so we really want you to define these for our viewers. And so we're going to start with the first one, which is cutaneous lupus. And maybe you can break down just a little bit how that's different from when we say lupus or SLE.
So, it's kind of is what it sounds like. Cutaneous lupus is lupus on the skin. And SLE is lupus that affects many different organ systems, and that can include the skin. But when we say cutaneous lupus, sometimes all people get are rashes, and they don't have any other involvement. They may not even have a positive ANA.
So this can be different from skin sensitivities or plain old allergies. There's a big difference.
Yeah, so lupus is its own thing, but what's interesting is that people with lupus have other skin problems more commonly. Things like psoriasis, vitiligo, eczema. And it kind of makes sense because a lot of those things are autoimmune conditions and even things like allergies. In a sense, allergies and autoimmunity are a hyperactive immune system responding to something that's otherwise harmless.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that's interesting. I guess I never thought about psoriasis. I know that those are autoimmune, but we always think of them as just their own thing. I have lupus, you have eczema or psoriasis, but it's all pretty much the skin attacking it. Is it the skin? Is it cells attacking the skin? What is that?
It's a reaction. So they're all autoimmune, but they're not the same. So people can have lupus related skin problems, but people with lupus can also get psoriasis. So some of the lesions of lupus may even look like psoriasis. So that can be confusing, but they're not the same thing. And there are different types of immune reactions. And then it's, the same as eczema. I believe one of our guests was saying she had eczema as a child. That's a different condition that involves some autoimmunity and barrier. And it also is more common in people who have lupus, which is a different condition, but also involves inflammation.
That's so interesting. So when I have these symptoms and I have cutaneous lupus, or when do I just hydrocortisone it? When do I just put some cream on it? And when should I consider going for prescriptions?
I mean, if it's something that you are familiar with, that you get that will respond to over-the-counter hydrocortisone, which is one of the weakest steroids, and that works, that should be fine if you do that for a couple of weeks. But if it's not working, or if it's very inflamed, or it looks like something that might scar, then you might want to go in. Or if it's something different than what you usually get, you might need a prescription.
And just real quick, one more follow up to that. Is there anything that can agitate a flared up rash? Like if I have a flare, is there something I should avoid, or something that maybe can just irritate it, or does it vary by person?
I think it varies by person, but certainly, as our guests have said, sun can be a big trigger. And I just think anything that would, make someone have a lupus flare, smoking, I believe even specific things like alfalfa sprouts, there are just certain things that trigger lupus, and then it could just trigger it in your skin. But the big one is sun, as we've heard.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good point. And I think it's also so dependent person to person. In my experience, for everyone, they have a set of things that could trigger their flares. And I think it is important to think that the skin is the most visible manifestation we have of flares. So what are some other ways that you think we can protect our skin?
So in addition to sunscreen, which is very important to, use it daily, reapply it if you're out in the sun every 2 hours, or if you sweat it off or go swimming, to reapply it more frequently. Make sure you're using an SPF of at least 30. And if you have lupus, go up higher, go up to 50, go up to 70. And then there's protective clothing that you can wear. And now it's starting to get very stylish. I went to a Fashion Week event that was for a brand that makes UPF, ultraviolet protective clothing. So you want a UPF 50. And it's quite similar. That's like the supermodel Nikki Taylor there.
Love it.
She needed, she shares this because she's a melanoma ambassador. She needed some protective clothing, and she lives in Florida. But of course, she wants style because she's a supermodel. So she wanted to look good while being safe and healthy.
Wow. So we can look stylish with these outfits on. That was really cute. That was a really cute outfit.
Yeah. They had the big hats. Like everyone looked like a diva. I was like, go ahead.
Did you have some protected outfit on there? So, if we're not doing a great job managing, protecting our skin, what are your thoughts about, how we can heal the damage that may have already been done?
So, if you have in the middle of an active flare, you want to treat it. And topical steroids are a great way to jump in. If you are someone who gets skin lupus, more commonly cutaneous lupus, I would get a prescription that I have on hand because, as mentioned earlier, it is a fire extinguisher. You're putting out all that inflammation that the lupus is causing, mm-hmm. and the inflammation is what causes the damage. So you want to, have a prescription strength steroid available and use it as soon as you get symptoms or you get itchy or burn or you see something, and then it's less likely to cause damage.
Thank you.
And I have another question I want to kind of curveball your way. For Faith, because if I have all these kind of skin issues, it's like microdermabrasion or all of those things that somebody with lupus or with a skin issue, is that safe for them, or do we have to kind of stay away from anything that might irritate the skin?
I think you have to be more cautious. Some things can trigger. I'm not sure if we say Kebnerize with respect to lupus, but with other skin conditions like psoriasis, lichen planus, we call it Kebnerization, where the trauma causes that specific skin condition to appear in that area. And that can happen sometimes with lupus, particularly if you've had discoid lupus, which is more scarring. I would just want to be careful. So I wouldn't recommend that someone do something like microdermabrasion if they were prone to cutaneous lupus flares.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure, because they're pushing everything out here for for you to look younger, get rid of wrinkles.
There are other things you can do.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing how we can be proactive. You shared how we can be fashionable. I mean, that's awesome. A dermatologist getting a little love at Fashion Week. Clearly, you had a good seat in the front, able to see these things. Do you remember the brand name at all? I can't remember. I know it's on your blog.
Are you allowed to say brands?
I mean, it's not a drug, so I think we can allow it. Coolabar,
and it was their Mott 50, the super stylish collection. They've been around a long time with UPF 50 clothing, and there are other brands that make UPF 50 clothing, but this was a particularly focused on style. If you want to just have a special outfit, if you're going to go to a picnic and you want to look super cute, it's Coolabar, the Mott 50 collection.
Thank you. Yeah, no, definitely. Like, can I say brands? Oh no, we'll send them a bill. For the promotion. Well, we're gonna thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna bring you back in a few because we're gonna get into our next segment. Thank you, though. All right, our next segment here on Better Together. We're so excited to talk about Spotlight on Research.
So Spotlight on Research is where we learn about the path to developing new treatments, and there are lots of opinions on social media. So Chanel had this great idea that we want to bring in the facts. So we're talking clinical trial facts and fiction. That's this segment. We're going to have Dr. Cobos sharing her wisdom today. So show some love for bringing back in Dr. Cobos.
Yay.
Hi, I'm back.
Hey, thank you for joining us. I know you just came from work and you hopped on with us. So we're so glad to have you. you're running trials over at Tufts University School of Medicine in Boston. And that's such an important role. You talked about all of the roles you have. You're booked and busy. They're like, we're going to get everything out of you. But you could only see patients if you choose, but you still choose to do clinical trials and to manage and direct clinical trials. So what led you into this work?
So first, Chanel and Dr. Michaela, you guys are so energetic. You've kept me awake. You're coming after work. I'm so glad to hear you guys, like so much energy. And so how did I get into clinical trials is just, I think I always knew I wanted to stay in academics just because of the patients I like seeing, the complexity that, and the teaching. So kind of getting to work with our residents. I think clinical trials are very important because we are really bridging a need for new medications. And I think particularly what I've been trying to focus on is trying to increase the folks that are skin of color, that are underrepresented into clinical trials, because most of our clinical trials continue to be 70% Caucasian males, which is not representative of what the US demographics are. So I'm really excited to be here and chat with you guys about clinical trials and hopefully debunk some myths.
Oh, perfect. No, thank you for the work that you're doing. And that we can't highlight that enough. The idea that lupus primarily affects women, but the trials are primarily being done by white males, and I think that that's a very significant factor. Well, we're going to talk about these facts and fictions. How about that? And so I was at a conference this weekend out in Princeton, and I saw quite a few friends, some of which have been on this show. And I was like, hey, can you share some myths that you might have heard, some facts and fiction that you might have heard about clinical trials? So we're going to play them one by one and see what you think about each one and challenge you to this little game of fact or fiction. So, Dr. Cobos, are you in?
I'm ready. Locked in.
Yes. All right. Well, let's go. Let's play the first one.
Hi, it's Chanel Matlock, also known as GI Shane, and I heard that you don't need a doctor's note to get into a clinical trial.
So what do you think, fact or fiction?
That is actually, I think we're going to call that a fact. And so although a good amount of our patients that come into our trials unit are referred by their physician from, many different places, some savvy patients and patients that are really advocating for themselves keep themselves updated, right? They see that there's a new trial, there's a new medication that's being investigated, and they will reach out directly to our trial unit. So yes, you do not need a referral from your physician, although that is the most common way to come into our trials.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, all right. So we have one fact. That was a fact right there from Chanel, who is a GI Shane on Instagram and a very big health advocate and lupus advocate. But and happy Veterans Day to her, because she's actually a veteran. But let's go to the next video.
Hi, my name is Emmett Hedgeson III, CEO of Male Lupus Warriors, and clinical trials are not just for people that don't have any options.
I think I understand. I think that's also a fact. It is not only for people that don't have options, right? And so I think there are various reasons why someone will join a clinical trial. One of them, it could be kind of the situation that the gentleman described. Let's say you have used all of the medications that are standard of care and are available. And so in those folks, yes, like you are reaching for something new, something that is only available in a clinical trial. But there are folks, throughout the country, insurance coverage varies. And so there are folks, if they don't have insurance, this can be a way that they at least have access to medication while kind of that situation is being sorted. There are other folks that are, I call them like my little nerds, that they love to participate in like advanced science and have like more of that altruistic goal that they say, like, even if it doesn't help me, I want to continue to advance and kind of move fields forward. And so there are folks that will join our trials just because they want to participate in science.
Amazing.
That's so good. Okay, so I love it. I'm a nerd too. I love me to go on clinicaltrials.gov and all these different sites and learn and see what's there. And really quickly, this to ask a question. And when you think about clinical trials, does that count as studies as well? Are clinical trials and studies the same thing?
Similar things. I think people sometimes will call them either or, but for clinical trials, I like calling it clinical trials just because then you know what we're talking about. There's various phases of clinical trials. This is very important. And so making sure you kind of understand that, I think is paramount to knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. All right, next video. Let's roll that tape.
Clinical trials take any old body to participate.
So what do you think, fact or fiction?
That is fiction. You don't take anyone, but I do like her sass. Well, Ms. Raquel, I will say clinical trials, there are very strict parameters of what patients need to have in order to qualify for a trial. And so, again, when we talked about the different phases, there's some phases that will kind of just test the safety of medication, and that can be in healthy volunteers. But let's say in our phase 3 kind of trials where we're actually trying to see if this medication has efficacy for the desired condition, let's say lupus, then we would want to make sure in the trial design, there are specific parameters, how much of what type of lupus do they need, what medications that they need to fail. So fairly strict criteria that has to be met in order to be able to be included.
Got it. And for somebody, and Raquel is another, Raquel, Emmett, they're all other folks that do really great work around lupus advocacy. Raquel said, I'm going to make sure I do it the way I want to do it. And she said she's going to put a little attitude in it, but she's very sweet. I love it. But I know that's something that she talked about was really challenging, you know, the idea that there are all these different types of people that might want to get in a trial and they might hear a no. But like you said, it's not just to take anybody that's out off the street and give them this drug. There's actual intention, actual rules around who can be a part of it, which is important to know. Thank you. All right, let's go into the next video.
Hi, I'm Dan. And I heard that you have to get all your medications when you are in a trial.
Okay, I think I understood the question. You have to get all of your medications?
Get off of your medications.
Get off your medications. Okay, so that can be a little bit of maybe fact and fiction. It depends on the trial. So it's not, let's say I know we were chatting a little bit about psoriasis and eczema before. So let's say for psoriasis and eczema trials, for the majority of them, we do have you're not on anything, even including our topical steroids or topical calcineurin inhibitors. For those trials, it's very clean. And so you have a group that's either getting drug or you're getting the group that's having placebo or like fake drug, right? So you can see a difference. But let's think about trials like psoriatic arthritis, oncology trials. It would be unethical to completely take these folks off all of their medications and put them on like a fake drug. And so there is trials that allow for background medications to be used to make sure that patients are not having kind of progression of their already severe disease, making sure that they're at least able to continue to participate in the trial.
Got it. Oh, that was great. Okay, so being able to take our drugs, I think that's also another fear, is that you're just changing everything about your experience in that moment to be a part of a trial, but knowing that you're still there and that are you still following up with your doctor?
Yes. And so I think that's, I think the biggest takeaway from trials is the importance of the informed consent process, right? In the informed consent, you get it beforehand, you read it, you have time to ask questions. The way we go through it, we go page by page, just making sure, because you should be an informed participant. You want to make sure you understand what the risks could be, what the benefits could be, like anything you would do in your regular clinic, right? And so for these folks, they can continue to still see their regular physicians. We kind of just do their trial work. And so they continue to have visits with other folks, just knowing that, you know, they're in certain trials or certain medications that they wouldn't be able to start or do anything without letting us know first to make sure it's okay.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. That was so much fun. But I want to bring somebody to the stage really quickly who's actually been a part of a clinical trial. Can I bring back Shreece to the stage? I know you had an experience. Hi. So we're just bringing you back, just, you know, a little early. We're going to bring everybody back together. But, you know, you were a part of a clinical trial. I'm just curious, what was your experience like? And actually, you know, why did you choose to be in one?
Okay, well, to answer your first question, I had a great experience in a clinical trial. And the reason why I chose to participate is because, being diagnosed at such a young age, you want to know all the answers to everything. So I felt like participating in a clinical trial would try to get an answer as to like why I have this condition, as well as, it's me getting one step closer to a cure for this condition. And, I felt like as a Black woman, it's my duty to try to at least participate in, a clinical trial, because there are a lot of fears out there of participating in clinical trials. And, I just want to try to like debunk those myths, like how we just did just now.
Shreece, thank you. Music to my ears. So thank you so much for, even at a young age, kind of being brave and like advocating for yourself to join a trial.
Oh man, thank you. Yeah, that was so much fun. I mean, I thank you, thank you, Shreece, for sharing your experience and helping us understand your experience with the clinical trials. And also, thank you, Dr. Cobos, for helping us understand the important work that you're doing out there in Boston, in chilly Boston. And a special shout out to all of our advocates who submitted those videos. That's Dan, who's on the Lupus Accelerating Breakthroughs Consortium, the Lupus Voices Council. And then we have Raquel, Emmett, and Chanel, who all wanted to contribute to this show. So just saying a special thank you to them. This is great. All y'all are doing amazing things.
It was great. It was good to see familiar faces. And Dr. Cobos, you have so much experience with treating lupus patients. So we're going to actually have you stay with us, and you as well, Shreece, because we are going to invite everyone back in for some closing thoughts.
Yay. Bring everybody back together. All right, welcome back to the stage. Now, we have one final question. Dr. Micaela, would you like to ask the question to our guest?
Sure. So basically, we're asking everyone to share what their advice would be for someone who is navigating lupus, but okay, we're talking about the skin. What's your advice for someone navigating the difficulties of dealing with how lupus impacts their skin?
GeJuana, would you like to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So I probably have two pieces of advice. First, of course, listen to your doctors. I refer to my rheumatologist as my quarterback. He kind of helps to navigate me towards where I need to go. What do I need to check in on? Is this something that I need to be concerned about, etc.? So listen to your quarterback. Make sure that you are staying very well connected with your physicians and their advice. But, at a deeper level, especially as it pertains to lupus of the skin, I would say make sure you are very comfortable with that person in the mirror. Lupus of the skin is it's an uncomfortable, condition to have because it takes such an impact on how you look. And so I would say, make sure as you're looking at that person in the mirror, you are advocating for that person, loving on that person, and doing all the things that's going to help that person just be their best self. So that would be my advice.
Yes. Like the young people do, Shreece, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yes, I would say first, just be open. People may have a lot of questions. You might think that it's silly, or like for myself, I used to get really defensive when people ask about my skin conditions, but at the same time, they don't know what's happening. So I use that as an opportunity to educate, right? And my second piece of advice is accessorize. I have a hat for every outfit. I have a hat for every outfit, every color. I accessorize a bucket hat. Yes, accessorize. And sunscreen. Even if you're indoors, you should wear the sunscreen.
Definitely. Oh, even on cloudy days, I think that's something also interesting. I find sometimes like when it's overcast, that my skin feels extra sensitive with UV. I know we're going to ask you in a second, Dr. Strachan, but actually, we were gonna probably go to Dr. Cobos, but am I bugging? Is that a real thing that like even if it's overcast, you could still feel UV rays?
Yes. Yeah, I can go next. I can take Dr. Strawn's answer and piggyback off Shreece. Sunscreen. I think your sunscreen is like your first, second, and third. And I think particularly looking at tinted sunscreens, it has iron oxide in it. And so tinted sunscreens also give you protection not only from kind of the UV lights outside, but certain fluorescent lights that we have indoors. And so particularly for some of our lupus, like cutaneous lupus patients, the discoloration is also very bothersome. And so making sure that we're kind of blocking all type of lights that can continue to worsen that is super important. And then I think secondly, just hearing kind of from our patient advocates here, just advocate for yourself, right? I think you know your body, you know something feels different. Make sure you find the right physician for you. There are a good amount of us in like our room derm world that this is all we want to see. We want to help people with these very serious conditions to make sure that we can give them the best results. And so making sure you're kind of tapping into all of those networks is super important.
Awesome. Dr. Strachan, what's your thoughts and comments?
So I would add to the expected dermatologist response about sunscreen, sun protection, those things, and having a good relationship to your dermatologist who is interested in lupus and understands it. And there are even other things to do, including the protective clothing. There's even film that you can put on your windows. I know some people live in sunny places and they're there all the time. You know, there are things you can do. I don't know if you can do it on your car legally every place, but I think if you have a medical exemption, you might be able to do that with your shields. And if you live in a beautiful sunny place with big windows, you can enjoy it. You can get some, there are films that you can get on your window. So take advantage of the other technologies other than the sunscreen. And then I would say my second would be we understand that you have a lupus and that can present a lot of ways. That doesn't mean everything that comes on your skin is lupus. You could have something else. You know, it's like sometimes when people have diabetes, they think everything is diabetes, or when people are on certain medication, there was a medication that was like very controversial. People think every side effect they get is from that medication. So just be open, because you might have a rash and it might not be lupus, and you want to take care of that rash as well. You can have other things as well. So that would be my second one.
No, definitely. And I'm going to throw it to us. We don't usually we usually let just you all the answer, but I'm going to throw it. Dr. Michaela, what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, today's a great example of connect your rheumatologist to your dermatologist. Let us know who you're seeing. We love to collaborate with our dermatology colleagues. Sometimes, as Dr. Cobos and Dr. Strachan can attest, we have medications that are treating joint pain and the skin, and maybe we only need one. So when we talk, sometimes it can really maximize your care.
Definitely. And my advice I'm adding on is I would say just make sure sometimes take pictures. I think that's something I know for me, one of the hardest things I never think. There's some people that like literally do full photo shoots whenever they're sick, and I never think about it. Every time I do my walk page, when I do like a walk for lupus, they're like, your pictures are so happy. I'm like, when I was in the hospital, I didn't think about taking a picture. But taking pictures of things also allows you to be able to go to the doctor and be able to say, this is what happened. Because I know, and y'all can attest to me, I'll be fine. I'll be like messed up. I get to the doctor, all of a sudden everything is gone. I'm like, I swear there was something wrong. So taking pictures is really helpful. And also, I think, just getting used to the idea that this is real life and that you can still be beautiful and still be amazing and still be social, even if sometimes you don't feel as great as you don't look the same way you remember. So those would be my thoughts. But definitely. This was great. Yeah.
This is great advice. I want to say thank you to all of you, Shreece, GeJuana, Dr. Strachan, Dr. Cobos, for being with us. And I really know that your stories and the facts that you shared are really reaching the people who needed to hear what you had to share.
Definitely. And we had such a great group of guests, and special thanks to all of you out there watching. You know, it's been amazing this season. I actually have a quick announcement to everybody out there. We've reached 1 million views of our show. Dr. Shay. We've reached 1 million views of this show, and that's something
amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't have did that without all of you, you know, and that's every episode, people sharing, people watching, people reposting. So please, like, make sure you keep checking out our replays, and feel free to check out any past episodes you might have missed. That is how many years has it been, Dr. Michaela? What, 4? 4 or
3, 4, it's flew by. Yeah.
We've been here for a while, so you have some great episodes to check out. So feel free to go to youtube.com at Better Together Lupus Live and see all of the past episodes that you might have missed.
And thank you to our team and our friends at Biogen who helped make this series possible, got us to 1 million viewers. For more information and to learn about participating in clinical trials, you can scan the QR code that you'll see here on the screen using your camera, or you can go to biogentriallink.com. That's BIOGEN triallink.com. And the direct link is also in the chat.
Definitely. So please make sure you follow us on Instagram. We have some great videos posted of some of our past episodes. It's at For Better Together Lupus. And on Facebook, you can find us at Better Together Lupus. And make sure you join us for our next show, November 25th at 6:30 Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about Feast Without the Flair, Holidays with Lupus. Because you know the holiday season is coming up. Oh my gosh, I am not prepared. I feel like it was just June and we're ready to think about holidays. But we're going to be learning about ways to avoid flares caused by holiday stressing. And that's everything from cooking and food to like family sometimes. And we have our special guest coming in, the lupus dietitian, returning Tanya Friedrich. So that's going to be a really, really good episode. Make sure you check it out.
I'm so looking forward to it. And I remember she joined us very early on. So Thanksgiving is around the corner. But before we talk more about that, I'm going to have Chanel close the show with her spoken word. So thank you.
Thanks. I can't always see me when I look in my reflection. Eyes focused on every flaw, only seeing the raw images, wishing my skin could match what I see within. But I remember that I am not broken. I'm beautiful. The redness can't touch the boldness of my soul. The scars show the wholeness of my heart. The skin is only the surface. This skin does not change my purpose. This skin is beautiful. It's brown and shades of red, shades of brown. It is beautiful no matter what's going on and what happens and whoever's around. I love what I have outside of me and within me. And I will let go of all of beauty society. I will let go of all of society's standards of beauty to make sure that I'm building my own. I am loving this thing, this skin that I love and I call my home. Thank you so much. See you all the next episode. Take care.